welcome. My name is Lexi Jong, and here I like to talk about luxury makeup. Now, today's video is sponsored by Lookfantastic, and Lookfantastic reached out for me in honor of International Women's Day, and they are featuring Chantecaille, specifically Sylvie Chantecaille, who started the brand, for International Women's Day month. You know, it really should be celebrated all the time. But as you know, Sylvie Chantecaille started the Chantecaille brand. It started as a skincare company, and it's really more a skincare oriented company that also sells cosmetics. They are one of my favorite brands. If you've been watching my channel for quite a while, you know that I have quite a huge Chantecaille collection. So today I thought we would do a get ready with me. Lookfantastic was kind enough to send me a few products, but I have tons already, so we're going to be including some of my personal favorites in here as well. For those of you who are unfamiliar with Lookfantastic, they have been a British retailer since 1996, and they are actually Europe's leading online beauty retailer. So they have relatively recently, started a US branch, so lookfantastic.us, and you can purchase, tons of items from there. They've been continually expanding. They add new lines and brands every month. So there's always something new to find there. And I have always had very good service from them. So Lookfantastic was kind enough to give me a discount code for all of you. So every Chantecaille item that they have on their website, you can get a discount on with the code Lexi15. I'll have all of the information down below in the description box. So please be sure to check that out. Now, just a few updates about Chantecaille as a brand. We know that Chantecaille, it started again as skincare, and they have kind of evolved into a skincare company that also sells cosmetics. So their cosmetics all still have like a skincare base to them. They don't really use water. They use Rosewater in place of that, so that you can actually get as many, skincare benefits as possible. And one of the things that I have really been following with them is that they are a 100% vegan company. And if you look at some of the packaging that you may have, products that you've purchased a while ago may not necessarily have all of that updated information. They are Leaping Bunny and cruelty-free certified and 100% vegan. So all of their newer packaging will reflect that. Some of the older packaging may not, but that is something to note because I know a lot of people have been, just kind of curious about that. Now, one thing to note, they do not sell in China. They do sell in Tmall, which is where people can access it through that, but it does not actually land directly in mainland China, which is how they can get away with, not having to test on animals there. So let's start off with some Chantecaille skincare. So as you know, I have used a few products from Chantecaille skincare line. I haven't used a ton. I do have a video from last summer where I went through like a whole bunch of like samples and travel sizes that I tried for a while. And there were definitely some products that really stood out to me, and that when I finish using up what I have, they are definitely things that I plan on purchasing. The first one that comes to mind is the Stress Repair Concentrate. So that is a product that I think works really well. And from the name, you can't really tell exactly what it does, but it's for use, for under the eyes, anywhere you have stress in your skin. So lip lines, around your lips, under your eyes, the 11s. And I have used that one in the past. It's definitely something I want to repurchase when I use up my current eye products, but I do really enjoy that one. Another thing that I want to mention, and this one was actually sent to me from Lookfantastic. This is the Hyaluronic Acid Blue Light Serum. And this is actually a really nice serum. Now, I'm not really totally convinced on the whole like blue light aspect. I think blue light has kind of been blown a little bit out of proportion if you follow all of the scientific articles and studies and so forth. You can see here though that this is like kind of a runny texture. This can actually be used purely as a lightweight moisturizer. So if you've got like oily skin, or it's summertime and you don't want something heavy, you could use just this and you get some benefits. Now, as I was saying, the blue light You know, I don't really know how serious blue light truly damages your skin. However, I do believe that there is an effect. And let's face it, blue light is technically all around us. We are getting a little bit more of it from our screens. I think the percentages are still on the lower end, but any little bit helps. So I have been enjoying this serum. I've been using it for just over a week, about a week and a half now. And I've been putting it on morning and night, just, you know, with my other skincare items, and it's really nice. I really like the texture and the way it feels. So this is something that I've definitely been enjoying. And if you guys are interested, let me know. I'll give you guys a long-term update on this in the future. Now, as I mentioned, I haven't used a ton of skincare products from Chantecaille, but other favorites of mine, and I actually have them downstairs in my bathroom, but they are the masks. And I haven't tried all of them. I really want to try the gold one sometime, but my favorite mask from them is the Jasmine and Lily Healing Mask. It's just such a great, like, rejuvenating mask, very moisturizing. So you can actually use that as a moisturizer before bed, you know, and put that on instead. Sometimes I'll do that, or I'll use it as like a full face mask while I'm like cleaning and so forth. That's usually when I wear masks. Another one of my favorites from them is the Hibiscus mask. And that one is one that's, I think it's got like AHAs and BHAs and so forth in there. It's more of a brightening mask. So when I want my skin to look a little bit brighter, or let's say it's been looking dull, or I have a special event or something, not that I've had any recently, that is a mask that I like to use. Now, I have purchased those full sizes. I have a whole separate video on those masks. If you're interested, I'll leave that linked down below in the description box. But I just wanted to put those out there because they are some fantastic products. And of course, another fantastic product from Chantecaille is the Pure Rosewater. Now, I've used Rosewater from several different brands, and I have to say that the Chantecaille one does have a different scent. Now, I have another bottle of this as well. This comes in a variety of different bottles and packaging. There's like a big aluminum spray bottle. There's this one here, which is heavy duty glass. I like to use the travel size one usually, so I usually just refill the travel size. The travel size bottle is also glass, but I have to say it really doesn't break. It was designed specifically to be harder to break if you drop it. And I don't know how they did that, but that really works because I've dropped mine 3 or 4 times on the hard floor and not even like a chip or anything in there. So I have not dropped this. So hopefully this will not break either, but it is definitely a great product. And this is something you can use to dampen your eyeshadow brushes. You can use as a mist to refresh yourself during the day. You know, sometimes I like to use it just before going to sleep to get the scent. And the way that this product is made is actually from, they take the flowers, and by the way, for all of Chantecaille's plant extracts and so forth, what they do is they take them, and they do this like in the lab, but they're really going to environmentally stress the plants so that they produce more and better like quantity and quality of the ingredients, you know, that the actual specific attributes of the plant that are designed to help kind of like prevent aging and so forth. So when you add more environmental stressors, the plants become a little bit hardier and so forth, and they also produce more of, you know, what for the plant is kind of like a natural reaction to combat that. And those are the extracts and so forth that are used in the skincare. So they're kind of like amped up, if that makes sense. Now back to the rose water. The way they make this is Chantecaille has a field of these roses in France. It's actually adjacent to Chanel's field. And what they do is they take the flowers. These are flowers, it's the Rose de May flower, and they bloom, you know, obviously in the month of May. And then they have 2 to 3 days to pick the flowers. They pick the flowers and they essentially go through a distillation process with the flowers where it's the flowers and the water only. So the flowers and the water, it's steam distillation. So they get boiled and condensed and then recondensed. So the scent you get from this is actually from the flowers. There is nothing added to it. It's 100% pure rose water. Now, because of the process, how time consuming it is, the fact that all the flowers are hand picked and so forth, this product does have a little bit of a hefty price tag, but I have to say that it is something that I have repurchased. This one in particular came directly from Lookfantastic, but it is something I've purchased on my own in the past. Now let's move on to makeup. I'm gonna bring you in closer and we're gonna start off with some foundation. So I thought today we would start off with the Chantecaille Future Skin Gel. So this is the one that comes in a jar, and my shade here is Porcelain. And you can see from the texture, it's kind of got this like whipped texture here. And when you put this on, a light layer is going to be very sheer, but it is something you can build up kind of like to a light medium level. So let's go ahead and test this out. So I'm going to take the Kyoto F04 and I'm going to put a little bit of this on my cheeks in the areas where I want a little bit more coverage. And I'm going to take this brush and I'm just going to kind of pounce it in like you would with a beauty blender. And then I'm going to do the same on the other side. And I have to say, this is a great foundation. I've used it for years. For me, you have to I like it put on in a specific way to get the coverage, if that makes sense. So you can see that it's definitely light coverage with one layer. Kind of sinks into your skin and it has a super natural finish. Now, one of the things I like about Chantecaille in general is that they really try to get, the best quality for everything. So if you're looking at manufacturing, their skincare is all made in Switzerland, and they use the best labs in Switzerland to, make sure that they are getting the, the best techniques, the newest technology, plus the classic traditional, kind of things that you would appreciate in high-end skincare. So they're trying to get the best you can get. Their cosmetics, the foundations, are all made in Japan. And that's because, the Japanese artisans there, they have access to these more microscopic pigments that they can put in here, which gives it a more imperceptible look on the skin. And they really do a great job doing that. For their color cosmetics, they use Italy. And as we know, a lot of makeup manufactured in Italy is going to have very high quality. They have very high standards there. They are also, by the way, Chantecaille is part of an initiative there to kind of like reduce, what is it? So how when you are using an ingredient that, say you're making a product and you're using a whole lot of that ingredient and then eventually it can become like endangered and so forth. So they are essentially in an agreement to make sure that none of the products that they're using, none of the sources, that doesn't happen. They're protected, there are limits and so forth. So they're really making an effort to conserve the natural resources. And I think that is going to be it for foundation today. All right, I'm going to take the Chantecaille Camouflage Stylo in shade 1. And just going to put a little bit of this here under my eyes. Pat that in with my finger. And as I was saying, the certification I was speaking of, it's Fair Wild certification, I think. And again, they're just trying to make sure that the environment is taken care of, even though they are sourcing these ingredients, and that things are safely protected. Also, for the use of mica with, for example, the luminescent eye shades, which we are going to use today, they are working with a particular organization, I believe it's in Italy, where, they make sure that there is no child labor, everything is environmentally safe and so forth. So just something to note there. Now, for the eye look today, I did want to go ahead and use these luminescent eye shades. I thought we would use 2 of them. So I'm going to use Rhino. This is the olive shade here, which to me, it's a little bit more gray than olive. You can see there's gray, there's brown in there. It's not super olivey to me, but one of the things I really like about this is the shimmer in here is a little bit more multicolored, and I just think it has a really nice effect. So I thought we would go with something dark like this, and then we would pair it with something lighter like this. This one is Zebra. This is one of the ones that came out for, was it fall or holiday? I don't remember. So here is Zebra. So I thought we would pair these together. Now, these shadows can be used wet or dry. I'm going to start off using them dry. This is the Chantecaille Shade and Sweep Eye Brush, and this was released when these shadows originally came out back in, I want to say I think it was fall 2019. So we're going to start with this and just kind of put this on the outer half, and I started on the outside so that it is light in the center. And I'm just using a little bit of this. I don't want it too deep. Now I'm going to take the same brush, I wiped it off, and go into Zebra. And we're going to put this on the inner half. And I'm going over about 3/4 of the way, so that's covering a good portion of Rhino. One of the things I love about these shadows is they are great for one and done shades, and they're very versatile. So you can have a light shimmery look, something very soft. You can use these wet and make them very impactful. And I personally love them. They are one of my favorite eyeshadow formulas. My favorite shade is Elephant, in case anyone was wondering. So we're going to keep this eye look simple. I wiped off the brush, and now I'm just going to take that and just kind of blend what is close to the crease. So I'm using it, vertically here. I'm going to take the tip of this brush and get a little bit of Zebra on it. I'm going to add this to the inner corner and on the lower lash line here. Then I'm going to get a little bit on the tip of Rhino here, just a little bit, and put this on the lower lash line also. Okay, so now I'm taking the Sonia G Pencil 1. I just sprayed it with the Rosewater, and I'm going to go into Zebra. I'm twirling my brush in it. And I'm just going to add a little bit of this to the inner corner so you can see how bright and vibrant that gets when it's wet compared to dry. So wet and dry. Now for the upper lash line, I'm taking the Chantecaille Luster Glide Silk-Infused Eyeliner in Amethyst. So that's the shade here. And I really love this shade. If you are used to watching my channel, then you would probably realize I have all of the Chantecaille eyeliners, well, the Luster Glides. These are one of my favorites. Well, they are my favorite formula, actually. And my favorite one of all is Olive Brocade. I'll show that to you in a second. So I'm just going to take the tip of the Shade and Sweep and kind of blend that a little bit. Now the reason I really love these eyeliners is because they are super creamy, but yeah, I don't have issues with them. So this one here is Olive Brocade, and this is the only one that has like a metallic finish to it. So you can see that it's this beautiful olivey green with like a little bit of yellow and golden shimmer in here. And then another one of my favorites is Violet Damask, which is more of a blue-based purple. Really love these. So one thing that I learned about this, because Lookfantastic was kind enough to set up a Zoom chat with Alex Chantecaille. So one of the things I learned is that because so many people have issues with like red and pink pigments, especially near their eyes and so forth, Chantecaille actually encapsulates those pigments so that they don't come in direct contact with your eyes. or with your skin. So for people who have issues with that, sometimes they are able to use the Chantecaille products that contain those pigments because they encapsulate them with some sort of like seaweed product. I'm not sure exactly what it is. So I just thought that was really interesting. So this is gonna be it for the eye look, and let's go ahead and do mascara. Now, Chantecaille actually has a couple of mascaras on the market. They have I think it's called just the Faux Cils, and then there's Faux Cils Longest Lash. This is Faux Cils Longest Lash, and this is the more expensive mascara. And the reason this is so expensive is because it actually has a growth peptide in it. So if you are using one of those like lash growing serums and so forth, that's actually part of this mascara. So if you use this daily for, I believe it's 3 weeks before you are supposed to see results. If you use it daily for 3 weeks, you will actually notice length added to your lashes. They grow. And I have actually tried that. I've tested that and I have noticed growth. So let's take a look at this. And I know some people actually even just use this mascara as like a primer. So if they want like a different formula or something, they'll put this on underneath so they're getting the benefits of the growth peptide. Then they put another mascara on top. So this is the Chantecaille Longest Lash Mascara. You can see that it definitely adds length to your lashes. And again, the idea of the added peptide, the growth peptide in here is a nice benefit to this mascara. Next, we're moving on to brows. I have the Chantecaille Full Brow Perfecting Gel in Tint, and I have the shade Light. So this is light, and you can see that it's got a wand here. It's a pretty sturdy wand. This isn't an overly wet formula, but it is wet. So it's not like super, super wet like some that you see where, you know, you have to be careful about putting it on because it gets a little gloppy. But it's not going to be like feeling a little dry either. So I like to just put this on and then run through it with a brow comb. So this is the Anastasia Beverly Hills brow comb. And I just like to kind of run through this afterwards and make sure all the pigment is evenly distributed. Now, this product also has growth peptide in it. So if you're like me, I've got some areas that are a little sparse, and you know, using the growth peptide, again, if you're going to use this religiously, you will notice some growth to your eyebrows, which is definitely great for anybody who has overplucked in the past. So next I'm gonna kind of set the foundation with this. This is the HD Perfecting Powder from Chantecaille. You can also use like the Perfect Blur, the Hummingbird powder, which is coming back very soon in new packaging, but that one's a little bit deeper, a little peachier. I'll show you a comparison. So here is the Hummingbird powder, the Perfect Blur that's coming back. Let me swatch these for you. So this is Hummingbird and this is the HD Perfecting Powder. So you can see how much different the shade is between the two of them. The formula is also a little different. The Perfect Blur is a little bit creamier, but both of these are going to be like a firmer powder in the pan. I really like to use them for setting powder or underneath foundation for a little bit of a blur before I put on foundation. So I'm taking one of the Chikuhodo and Beautylish Lunar New Year brushes, and I'm going to go into the HD Perfecting Powder. Just going to get some here and just lightly dab and then spread it. So this powder gives a little bit of a blurring effect to it, and it sets the foundation very nicely. So I thought next we would go in with a bronzer, and this is the Real Bronze in Goa, and I'm going to use the Kyoto. This is the Lunar New Year brush, so I'm just tapping it on here and just put some on here. Now this shade looks super scary in the pan, but you can see that it actually works for my skin tone. The reason I really like this one are the undertones. You know, it's like a cool cocoa, and it gives a really nice look to the skin, in my opinion. So you can see how much definition I get there. This is one of my favorite products. I mean, again, you can't tell that I've used it much because I use so little at a time. I don't use a ton of bronzer. This will last me forever, but I really, really love this formula and this shade in particular. I haven't tried the other one. Now for blush, we're going to go into Joy. This is one of the philanthropic cheek shades from Chantecaille, and they come in this little plastic pebble compact here. There is a mirror at the top, and these are refillable. So you can see the little circle here. You can pop this out. You can actually purchase the refills on the Chantecaille website. So even if you didn't want a compact, let's say you like using huge palettes instead, you can get these for that. And Chantecaille does sell like a palette that you can put them in as well that fits like their loose eye shades and so forth. I believe these fit in there also. Now, this one here has the imprint of the horse on it. I kind of already taken off the overspray, and Lookfantastic was kind enough to send one of these in the products they sent. Since I already have this, I figure we'll add that to a future giveaway. But these are one of my favorite blushes. I like these better than the ones that came out last summer because they're really easy to use and pick up the product. And I have to say though, they are fairly light. There are definitely some deeper ones and you can build them up, but for my skin tone, they work really well because I don't have to be, scared to use them and, worried about getting too much pigment up at one time. So this is the shade Joy. Look how deep I got that. And honestly, if I added a little bit more, I could get this very deep. So I do think that this works for a variety of skin tones. There are some shades in this collection that I think are just a little bit too light for certain skin tones, but this one in particular, I think works pretty well for most people. And I have I think there are 6 of these. I have all 6 of them. And if I had to pick, my favorite would either be Emotion, the bee, or Grace, the turtle. I'll show you those in a second. So here is Joy. Okay, I went a little heavier on this side. Let's just blend that out. So here is Grace. I really love this shade here. Let's put that one there. It's just a really nice nude peachy shade. And this is Emotion, which I have to say this one was so stunning with the imprint. You can't really see what it looks like now, but it's a bee, and the bee was golden. It looks so pretty. This one's more of a true peach. These both just look so beautiful on the skin. And I had to add one more favorite here. This is Coral or Laughter, but it has a picture of coral on it. So you can see that there. And this is going to be more of a corally shade, but honestly, it's more pink than a true coral. These are probably my 3 most used shades from this blush line, and they are definitely some of my favorites, like overall. Okay, so next we're going to move on to finishing powder, and we're going to use one of my all-time favorite powders. This is the Chantecaille Eclat Doux. This has a really nice, kind of like a creamy gel texture. You can see when I touched it right now, you can see like how that comes up, but it's got a little, it doesn't feel wet, but it's not like a drying powder. It actually seems to have, I don't know, it's something that I really like to use when my skin's extra dry as well, just because even though it doesn't feel wet, it feels like it kind of adds and keeps a little moisture in my skin. So it's definitely one of my favorites. Now, this was limited edition, or is limited edition. It came out for the holidays in 2019. Can you see how this gold leaf in here is like 3-dimensional? So it's kind of like you've got the bottom layer, then there are flakes of gold leaf kind of floating in it, and then the top layer on top. It's so beautiful. This is my favorite Chantecaille powder, and it's got to be in my top 2 for favorite pressed powders in general. I'm not sure exactly. It's so hard to rank those. So I'm taking the Chantecaille Buff and Blur brush, and I'm just going to stamp it. I made my blush a little bit too deep here, so just going to kind of buff this in. And look at the finish. compared to this side. Now I have to say this powder, it's not going to work for deeper skin tones. I think it's going to be a little bit too light when you get to the really deep skin tones. But it does kind of, you can see here, you know, you can kind of blend it out, but there is going to be a little whiteness to it, which does work for brightening, but it is something to note. Now this brush that I'm using here is called the Buff and Blur. It's synthetic. It's a fantastic brush. I think it is definitely worth picking up if you're looking for a buffing brush, especially if you want something synthetic. You can use this to apply foundation. You can use it to buff in powders. I really like this one. And if you're interested in like the Westman Atelier blending brush, this is the same size and shape. It has a longer handle, but it's a way better value. For highlight, we're gonna go in with the Eclat Brillant highlight. This one came out with the Eclat Doux powder, and it's a really bright, beautiful gold. I'm gonna use the Sonia G Mini Cheek, just get a little bit here. Now I use this very sparingly. You can see I used this for like a couple months straight, and you can see how it still looks brand new. It's because I really use like the lightest touch. This, when I go into heavy, it can be like blinding. So I really like this one though. It gives a really nice, you know, sophisticated golden look, but it's got a shimmer to it. Let me just swatch that for you. You can see how shiny that is. This also looks beautiful on the eyes, by the way. And next up we have a Chantecaille lip veil. This was sent to me from Lookfantastic, and it's a shade I didn't have yet. So I'm going to show you how these are packaged. So these are 2.5 grams or 0.9 ounces. And as I mentioned, all of these color cosmetics, the blush and powders and eyeshadows and so forth, are made in Italy. These are made in Italy also. You can see on the new packaging, they have the Fair Wild certification. Again, that's where they are essentially making sure that, you know, all of the products that they use, the sources, they are protected and nothing is like over harvested or anything like that. These have an 18-month shelf life. So you open the box, anything with the elephant symbol on here tells you that it is a philanthropic product, which means that a portion of money is donated for each of these sold. This is the lip veil. Typically the lip veils come in this rectangular packaging. With the limited edition ones that have been coming out, they've had some lip cheeks in this shape of packaging as well, but anything in this dark blue with the elephant is part of the permanent line. This shade here is Rock Rose, and here we go. This is Rock Rose. This looks so pretty. It's kind of a little plummy. It's kind of like a plum pink, and you can see the sheen on here. Now, Chantecaille lip products are some of my favorites. The lip veils and the lip cheeks are both incredible. The lip veils are a little bit thinner on the lips than the lip cheeks. They both have kind of this like glossy balm hybrid mixed with the lipstick, but the lip cheeks have a little bit more of that, whereas the lip veils are a little bit more concentrated in color and consequently also a little bit thinner formula on the lips. So here is Rock Rose. I'm going to back you up and we'll look at everything together. So something I'm going to add, this is the Chantecaille Lip Keep, and typically you would put this on prior to a lip product. This is a clear lip pencil to just kind of keep things in the right spot so they don't bleed or anything like that. And I don't really have an issue with that usually with these lip products, but I'm just going to put this around the edges. So this is just a clear wax pencil. And this is my final look from a distance. And I have to say, I'm really happy with this lip veil. I think this color is really nice for spring. It's a bright pink, but it's not super bright. So it's still like everyday wearable. And I think it makes this whole look. So I'm very happy with the way everything turned out today. And again, thank you to Lookfantastic for sponsoring this video and for the discount code. So you are able to get a discount on all of the Chantecaille products on the Lookfantastic site with the code Lexi15. I'll have the information down below in the description box, so please be sure to check that out. I'll also have the products that I used. If you have any questions on any Chantecaille products, please feel free to DM me. I'm at Alexis Jong on Instagram, or leave a comment down below in the comments section. I'm always happy to help and provide any suggestions that I can. So if you enjoyed this video, please hit the thumbs up sign, consider subscribing if you haven't already, and I hope to see you very soon. Have a great day and stay safe and healthy.